fantastic job, and more specifically, Paul really did a great job of getting the club really on a stable financial footing that has really allowed us an opportunity to provide you a lot of these programs that we're going to be talking about. So if we could, just real quick, I'm not sure if he's here, but I'd just like to give a real quick round of applause to Paul for his service last year. So, thank you. As I mentioned, we have made some changes. These are basically the changes to the board. All the members are basically represented there. I'm not going to talk in specifics about the individual members, but I will say I'm really excited to work with this team, this board, because they are all really kind of dedicated to the club and really have the kind of the true essence of the club at their heart, meaning they're really focused on doing what's best for your players and the teams that we represent. And so, I look forward to a great year, a great several years, and hopefully we can continue to kind of on this really great trend that we've already experienced, in terms of the growth and the things that we are currently enjoying now, and we can allow as a board this growth and this kind of positive experience to continue. Before I get too far, though, I do want to just kind of give you a little bit of my background. Why am I involved with Infinity, and why would you care? Initially I came across Infinity really by chance. We were looking for a place for our son to play, and we happened to put on a tryout. We went to the tryouts, had a relatively good experience, but as we kind of went through the process, our son was put on a select team. It was a really difficult experience. I'm not sure if many of you can relate to this, or most of you can relate to this, but this philosophy that Infinity espouses about player development, especially at the younger age groups, often leads to a lot of questions about, all the players are going to play keeper, or all the players are going to play every position. And sometimes that's really difficult to kind of stomach as a parent sitting on the sideline, nervously biting your nails, while your son or daughter's in defending the goal. And so as I kind of went forward and kind of became more and more involved, it was one of those things where I kind of fast forward 6 months, and kind of a parent turned into a coach. And as I looked at all of these kids that we were coaching, specifically this U10 age group, it was really amazing to watch these young kids develop through this process, and more specifically having this kind of safe environment on these teams to go out and make mistakes and to really kind of build their own confidence, have skill on the ball, all of these things that this player development focus allows these players. But that doesn't mean that it's easy as a parent sitting on the sidelines losing games or having to kind of nervously watch your player play. That being said, as we watched and as the rest of the parents watched these kids grow in confidence and do all these things, it became there we go. Now you can hear me? Much better, right? What happened is it became really obvious to me that the system that Infinity is using and is working with really starts to work as we allow it to work. Specifically as I noticed these players, like I mentioned, as they grew in confidence, they really started to morph from just little players that had no idea what they were doing out there into kind of more established soccer players. And again, like I said, we didn't like to lose, but through that losing process, we learned a lot of lessons. And I found that, at least on our team, we really benefited, and the players really grew to love the game, which I think is what I learned as a kind of a fundamental lesson that Infinity's job is, especially at the younger age groups, to really allow these players to fall in love with the game, and then as we continue to allow them to develop, to provide the tools and the structure for them to continue to grow and develop. So I know there was a kind of a long way around to the point, but As a board member, what I'm committing to do, and as a board, what we're committing to do is to help every team and every player along that journey, not just starting to love soccer, but also providing them all the tools that they need to continue to grow and to develop. So, on to the fun stuff. So, one of the really important things that we want to kind of try to look at, and I'm not sure if you can read all of this, but one of the things that I really enjoy about Infinity is that we don't just stand still. We are always looking for ways to not only improve the way that the organization is run, but the way that the players are developing and the tools that they have at hand. And one of the best ways that we can kind of start to look at this is the club is continuing to grow, continuing to have additional teams involved, and you can even, there may be a mistake here on this 17 or 18, there was some discrepancy whether or not it was 17 or 18 ODP players, but needless to say, the number is increasing, and that's fantastic. That's actually really exciting, and so for a lot of these young players, this is a great time to be involved with Infinity, and we hope as we move forward that we continue to kind of see this trend improve and to have more and more success. One of the key things that I also wanted to highlight here is that it's not just the total number of teams, it's not just the total number of players, but it's also each team is continuing to play at a high level. So continuing to move from, say, one division up or having an improved record within their division, all of these things we're seeing as a byproduct of this club working on this player development focused philosophy. So as we kind of move forward, I did kind of mention the ODP players. We have seen a quick video. We're going to recognize some of those guys, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. But I also think that that's another key area that we want to just say, the club is working. We have this opportunity to have the state recognize some of our own players. And I think that the club really does have some contribution to that in providing the right environment for these players to develop and do so in a way that it is being recognized. And that's fantastic, not only for our individuals, but also for our club. And so I think that, we're making great strides, but I think that the important thing here is that we also have a long ways to go. We have a lot of things that we are working on, and some of those things we're going to discuss tonight with regard to kind of our overall trend is positive, but we still have some work to do, and we have some, things from a board and from a club level that we want to continue to improve on. So as a board, that got kind of truncated there, but it basically says, as a board and as a club, we are committed to continuing to improve the player's experience at all levels. So from a U9 or U10 all the way up to the kind of the high school or U18 age groups, and provide them the tools that they need to succeed, not just in soccer. And I think that this is another key thing. Gin mentioned it in that video with regard to, we aren't just building soccer players, but we're really building community members. And I think that it's important that we continue to empower our youth with the right skills. And I think that that's really our focus from the standpoint of the club, along with providing them the tools that they need to develop in soccer. So just a few of them, I'll just go through relatively quickly here. Some of these you're familiar with, some of them you're not. Ice soccer has been a tool and a relationship that we established about a year ago. It's been a really positive experience with most of the players in the club, and we're continuing to strengthen that relationship. It's a great tool for young players to have contact with the ball, to be independent without needing your parents out in the backyard, and it's also a way to measure yourself as you kind of go through as you grow and as you some of the older age groups, that they can compare themselves to their peers. It's a great opportunity to kind of support that player focus that we have within the club. One of the other new items that we're talking about is something called the ID camps. This is something that Gin and a couple of other coaches are working on, which is a U8 camp for what I call the best and the brightest. So it's an invitation-only camp for players of that age group that really allows them an opportunity to get kind of a taste of Infinity without joining the club, but really helps us spread this kind of this message of player development and player focus. So, kind of just going down the list here, we also have added a new member to kind of the coaching staff, Mike Seiler, who's here, has this new goalkeeper training program that it really focuses and gives keepers the tools that they need to be successful out on the field and hopefully in turn make their team successful. It's currently running, I believe it's through U12 through U18 for the goalkeepers. So again, continuing to try to help the club expand and provide additional things for each players at all the various levels. So again, it looks like we got cut off here also. The last one is a new program called the College Liaison, which is something that Sherry Deaver is putting together, which is really great for some of the older age groups, especially high school age players that are looking for help and support and going out and working through some of those relationships with college recruiters and finding those connections so that they can turn their soccer careers into college careers, whether it be playing or kind of from an educational standpoint. So all of these things are just kind of a snapshot of what this kind of the season, what we look forward to this season, and obviously there's more to come. And one of the, I didn't provide a lot of details with regard to each one of these individual items. All of these things can be found on the website, so each one of these is represented there, and you can dig in and find the information, the detailed information that you're looking for. So go to the Infinity SC. Let's see. One last thing before we kind of get on to kind of honoring all of these players that we're here to honor. Is that, again, truncated here, but we couldn't do this without a lot of support from a variety of people. There's obviously a lot of people in this room. There's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of committee members that are involved in making Infinity a great club and a great place to play soccer. It takes a ton of effort to make all of these various pieces kind of move and work together. And the key part of that is that we also need help. There's a lot of things that we're planning on doing and things that we would like to do more with the club, but we need people that are interested and looking and taking some of their time and donating it, for lack of a better term, to the club. And so kind of my simple request, if I could have a simple request, is to find a way to get involved. So you can contact Lisa if you have some interest in being on a specific committee, or in terms of younger age groups coaching, or if you have a soccer background coaching some of the older age groups. Please don't be shy about getting involved. It's really important that we kind of continue to build this foundation that is, kind of the Infinity has started, and continue to kind of grow and develop with it. But I will kind of wrap things up here. I wanted to thank Riverwoods for this great facility and the food, and more specifically ask just a reminder that you'd support some of the sponsors that helped put together this evening tonight, a lot of which are represented on your tables. So go out, visit those places, send them your business, because it really does take all of the various people supporting the club to allow us to function. Also wanted to thank Gin and Lisa and all the other volunteers that put tonight together, and really appreciate the time, and thank you for everyone for coming out and supporting this great effort and all of these great players out here. Thank you very much.